So, ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, distinguished guests, current and former colleagues, it is with profound honor to welcome you all here today. This event, a collaborative effort of the Institute for Israel-Africa Relations, IAI, Tel-Aviv University, and the Jerusalem Center for Strategic Studies, symbolizes our commitment for fostering meaningful, strong, and long-term relations between Israel and the nations of Africa. Connections rooted in mutual interest and shared values. The Israel-Africa Relations Institute was founded with a mission to transform Israel relations with African nations by building diplomatic, economic, and technological bridges, unlocking substantial potential. Established earlier this year, the Institute serves as a platform for knowledge, data, research, and concepts that have not been explored or given adequate attention by policymakers and decision makers. I'm particularly proud to acknowledge the presence of our distinguished speakers who came from Washington, New York, Paris, Dubai, including Ambassador Dr. J. Peter Pham, former United States Special Envoy for the Sahel region and an Atlantic Council Distinguished Fellow. His experience, expertise, and deep understanding will undoubtedly enrich our discussions and deepen our research here. Our goal today is to explore the multifaceted relationship between Israel and Africa, the economic challenges Africa faces, the global competition over the continent, and the action of both friends and foes in gaining influence and leverage in Africa. We aim to highlight both the opportunities and the risk that lie ahead. We will discuss how we can work together to promote economic development, enhance technological cooperation, and strengthen strategic and diplomatic ties. You will be presented with 3 new policy papers, all from the last 6 months, as well as an in-depth study written by Oxford in April 2022 that has yet to be presented publicly. You will hear from top analysts, experts, academics, and practitioners. We want this conference and our platform to assist you with your endeavors to minimize risk, alleviate concerns, and especially to build trust. Trust coupled with win-win models that we can help create is what we believe is needed to maintain long-term partnerships that will drive prosperity and growth across Africa. We are confident that our discussions will pave the way for a brighter and more collaborative future between Israel and Africa. I would like to thank our partners in organizing this conference, Dr. Irit, head of the Inter-University Program of African Studies at Tel-Aviv University, Professor Fein-Grossman from the Jerusalem Institute for Strategy and Security, Dr. Vera Kaplan, the head of the S. Daniel Abraham Center for International and Regional Studies. I would also like to thank my colleagues from the Israel-Africa Institute for their hard work and dedication to making this conference successful, which I hope it will be. Our CEO and dear friend, Dr. Ayman Mansour. Our researchers, Matan Daniel and Nasima Kirwad. A special thanks goes to Mr. Chaim Taib, he's the president and founder of the Institute. Mr. Taib has dedicated his life and career to Africa, leading innovative solutions to impact future generations. Without your leadership and vision, none of this would be possible. Thank you all for coming today to dedicate your time about the future, and I look forward to the insightful discussions ahead. Thank you. Dr. Bach.
Distinguished guests, are you hear me? Colleagues and honored attendees, it is my pleasure to welcome you to this conference on Africa-Israel relation. As researchers, diplomats, and entrepreneurs, we gather here to explore the complex and evolving dynamics between the countries of Africa and the State of Israel. Our aim is to foster a deeper understanding of this relationship, examine its historical context, and discuss its future potential. The ties between Africa and Israel have a rich and complex history dating back to the mid-20th century. In the 1950s and 1960s, Israel played a significant role in supporting newly independent African nations through technical cooperation and development assistance. In this period, diplomatic relations were established between Israel and many African countries, fostering goodwill and mutual understanding. However, the landscape of Africa-Israel relations has since undergone significant change. Many African nations severed diplomatic ties with Israel after the 1973 October War. This shift marked a period of reduced engagement between Africa and Israel and lasted for several decades. More recently, we have witnessed a remarkable resurgence in Africa-Israel relations. The renewed interest is driven by several factors, including shared security concern and vulnerabilities, economic opportunity, and technological cooperation. Israel's expertise in areas such as agriculture, water management, and cybersecurity has become increasingly attractive to African nations seeking to address pressing development challenges. However, it is crucial to acknowledge that the relationship between Africa and Israel is not without its complexities and challenges. The ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict, in particular following the October 7th event, continue to influence perception and policy decision in many African countries. Additionally, there are concerns about the potential implication of closer African-Israel ties on African nation relationship with radical global and regional power, in particular in the context of rapidly changing global order. The panel comprising today's conference will discuss the challenges, complexities, and opportunity of Africa-Israel relations from various perspectives by addressing questions such as how can we ensure that economic partnership between African countries and Israel could contribute to the substantial and inclusive development on both sides? What are the implications of the evolving Africa-Israel relation for regional geopolitics and global diplomacy? And what role can academic and historical knowledge play in fostering greater understanding and cooperation between Africa and Israel? As an historian, I looked at the story of Africa-Israel relation not only as a linear progression, but as a narrative woven with thread of history, collaboration, and at times challenges. The conference is an opportunity to examine this thread in details, understand their origin, appreciate their current strengths, assess their current relevance, and identify areas where we have a more mutually beneficial future. So thank you again for coming from Israel and abroad. I eagerly anticipate a stimulating and productive conference. Thank you.
On behalf of the Daniel Abraham Center for International and Regional Studies, it is my great pleasure and a great honor to welcome the organizers, participants, and guests of this conference devoted to the strategic and economic bridges between Africa and Israel. Established in 2004 by Tel-Aviv University, the Daniel Abraham Center promotes collaborative, interdisciplinary scholarship and teaching on issues of global importance. Combining the activities and strength of Tel-Aviv University's professors and teachers in various disciplines, the Abraham Center aims to integrate international and regional issues and regional studies at the university into informed and coherent perspectives on global affairs. In its various activities, the center seeks to provide student and faculty members with opportunities to develop a better understanding of the complex cultural and historical problems on both the national and regional levels across the globe. These activities are enhanced by conferences, lectures, and workshops sponsored by the center alone or in collaboration with other institutes and centers, both within and outside Tel Aviv University. The program for African Studies is one of the most effective and promising projects of the center, which is not surprising. Africa is the world's second largest continent with the youngest and fastest growing population and with 1/3 of the world's mineral resources. The African states have an enormous potential for cooperation with countries, companies, and non-governmental organizations that can offer their knowledge, experience, and expertise in order to help develop Africa's vast resources. Indeed, for many decades, Israel has demonstrated its interest in such cooperation. Years ago, Golda Meir wrote in her memoirs, "My Life." I am prouder of Israel's international cooperation program and of the technical aid we gave to the people of Africa than I am of any other single project we have ever undertaken. And added, we did in Africa not because it was just a policy of enlightened self-interest, but because it was a continuation of our most valued traditions. But Israeli relations with African states, which enjoyed their golden age in the 1950s and 1960s, became increasingly complicated in the following decades as a result of the changing geopolitical developments, and unfortunately remains so to this very day. Yet paradoxically, the challenging geopolitical situation has stimulated growing research interest in this field, as demonstrated by the excellent works by Tel-Aviv University's leading expert on African studies, Professor Galia Tsabar and Dr. Irit Beck. I wish the conference great success. Its rich and comprehensive program promises to engender most fruitful and thought-provoking discussions. Thank you very much.